Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, and assembled company, welcome to the World Storytelling Cafe. And indeed, we have the world with us today. We only have one. It is Tuesday, therefore it is Young Tellers Night. We have the wonderful Yasname and Punjab ready to tell a story. In the audience, we have Mike near Hitchin in the UK, England. We have Mike 2, or why you can argue amongst yourselves, but who's 1 and 2 in Reading. We have Baba C in Washington DC, and I'm sitting in as usual in a field somewhere up in Norfolk, in Maui, having done Maui Wowie Festival. So, Yasname, are you ready to tell a story? Yasname, are you with us still? Marvelous. Can you tell us a story, Yasname? We're waiting expectantly.
Hello everyone, my name is Jasname, and today I'm going to narrate you the story of Nasruddin. Too much noise. Once there was a man who had a fig tree outside his house. The fig tree was very beautiful. People used to love that fig tree as it was so beautiful. But that man never used to like it, because whenever he used to go to sleep, that tree would make noises, and so he was so disturbed. One night he was too tired and he decided he would sleep peacefully, and so he went inside his house. As he laid on the bed, he started to hear the noise coming from the branches. Rakatak-tak, rakatak-tak, and he was disturbed. He could not sleep because of that noise. It came again and again, rakatak-tak, rakatak-tak, and so he did not sleep the whole night. Next morning, he said, I need a solution. I have to sleep. I'm so tired every day. But if this happens, I can't sleep. So he went to Nasruddin. He went to him and said, Dear Nasruddin, I can't sleep because I'm so disturbed. The fig tree outside my house makes noises, and so I'm not able to sleep. Should I cut that tree? Nasruddin said, no, you can't cut that tree. People like that tree a lot, so you should not cut it. I guess you should bring a cow into your room, and then you can sleep. You will be able to sleep. And so he went. He took a cow inside his house, inside his room, and then he slept. At night, he thought he would hear no voice. But now he heard the noises coming from the tree. Rakatak-tak, rakatak-tak. And there the cow started to moo. Moo! And now these noises continued. And so he could not sleep again. Next morning, he ran to Nasruddin again and said, Last night, the noise from the tree was not enough that the cow started to moo. It was like rakatak-tak and the cow mooing, moo. And so he was very disturbed and said, I need a solution. I can't sleep like this. And so Nasruddin said, you can get a dog into your room. I guess that's a better option, and you'll be able to sleep nicely. So he did. He brought a dog into his room, and he slept again. At night, there was no change. The cow was mooing, moo, and there was the noise from the tree, rakatak-tak, rakatak-tak, and the dog always had to bark, woof, woof. And so there were 3 noises continuing the whole night. And so he could not sleep again. And he went to Nasruddin and said, I guess two noises weren't enough that you gave me the third one. The whole night it was like ruck-a-tuck-tuck, the cow mooing moo, and the dog barking woof woof. I could not sleep again. And he said, I guess you should take a chicken into your room. That's a better option. And so he did. He took that chicken and then put it into his room. Now at night, the tree made that noise. It was ruck-a-tuck-tuck, ruck-a-tuck-tuck, and the cow started to moo, and there was this dog barking, woof woof, and now the chicken said, puck puck puckak, and so this noise continued the whole night. That poor man was frustrated. He was angry, and he could not find a solution. And angrily, he went to Nasruddin and said, I asked for a solution, but you gave me more problem. I will never take any advice from you. You're just so foolish. Who can come to you? The whole night I was disturbed. The tree was going ruck-a-tuck-tuck. The cow was mooing moo. And then the dog was barking woof woof. And there was this chicken puck puck puckak making its own noises. And Nasruddin said, I know, calm down. You can just take a single advice from me. That is, now you can take all these animals back from where you've got them. And then you'll be able to sleep. And he said, okay, this is the last advice. I won't listen to you again. And so he did. He went to his room and then pushed all the animals away. Shh, 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 and all the animals went. Now at night, he was so tired, he did not sleep for 3 days. He was very tired, and as he slept, as he laid on his bed, he could sleep nicely because the voice of the tree had slowed down. Ruck-a-tuck-tuck, ruck-a-tuck-tuck. And it was very easy for him to sleep. And so that man got the solution for his problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Jasname. And that's wonderful. And it shows how stories, the same stories, appear all around the world. I mean, that's a wonderful Nasruddin story. And but there's a European story, or someone's told it on the cafe before, where someone has their house is too crowded, and it's the same solution. That's and you did it so wonderfully, as always. Of course, you just get more and more expression in your voice. Now, Mike Wood, you rarely are with us for a comment. Would you like to comment on Jasname?
Yeah, no, I loved that story. I think it's fantastic how much Jasname has progressed as a teller, isn't it? I love the clarity of diction and the rat-a-tat-tat and the rhythm of the story. It just took me away. It was absolutely fantastic.
Fantastic. And Baba C, would you like to comment? I know you wouldn't. I know you're very shy.
Yeah, I'm very shy. I'm working on that. Jasname, I once used the word jazz or jazzy to describe you, because the wonderful thing about jazz is that it brings together a lot of different elements to make something wonderful and something exciting. And you bring together a lot of different elements, and you always make something wonderful and something exciting. And I like also how your stories not only are engaging, but they also have a lesson to learn. And I'm always eager to hear the jazz of Princess Jasname.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Mike Faxty, you're muted.
I'm there. No, I'm not anymore. I was, but I'm not. I've done the bit on the button. Jasmine, mate, it was lovely, of course, as always. And it's lovely to see you. Have you heard the Julia Robertson, is it? The Scottish author who did the Gruffalo. She's got one called I think it's The Crowded House. And it's a Scottish version of that same story. And I think there's also a Jewish version of that same story. I think might be the one that John was talking about from Europe. So it's all over the world, but I think that's the best telling I've heard all week. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mike. And Yazname, as no one else is joining us, this is becoming Tuesday is becoming the Yazname show, but we won't call it that. Because we do get the princesses in from Nigeria on occasions. Do you have another story in your pocket?
Yeah, I just take a minute.
You're muted. Oh, there you go.
I think Jasmine was saying she'll just take a minute so that she can come up with something.
I think she has distractors in the room. Might be her little sister who does videos on Instagram.
Yeah.
But the whole family's talented.
Yes. She will be back.
So John is in the field, Mike is in the forest, and I'm in the political concrete jungle of Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
And Mike is chilling. I think he's neutral.
We've got a storm blowing in Hertfordshire, I have to say. The sky has gone incredibly dark.
Ooh.
It's unlikely to be a hurricane, though. Eh?
I don't think we'll have 2/3 of the field under water.
We're getting a lot of flooding in certain parts of the United States, and in one state, the whole water supply has been contaminated, and they're dealing with that. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. And blackouts and all sorts. And yet, still, the oil companies say there isn't anything about climate problems. No.
No. Oh no. Okay, so people are bouncing in and out. Okay, right.
The name I couldn't remember was Julia Donaldson, who wrote the Gruffalo and things. Julia Donaldson, and she does the Crowded House story as a picture book.
So now I'm curious. I want to go see if there's an African American version of that.
There's bound to be.
It's interesting. When looking for African American stories, there's also Creole stories out of Louisiana, and they're Gullah stories from the Carolina Islands. And my heritage is so rich and diverse. Sometimes it's a study. No, it is always a study in of itself. But I like hearing all the different versions of stories. It can be the same story, but it has a different flavor. It's like making stew.
Can I cut in?
Please do.
I have a situation where I have to leave and deal with something. I've got someone picking up a mobility scooter from a field. I shall be back in a second, but if Yazname comes back, could you just get her back on?
Right,
Obviously.
We're looking at her now.
Yeah,
So we're about to ask.
Well, I'll get her back on then, if she's here.
Yazname, are you ready?
Are you ready to tell a story?
Yes.
Okay, please tell.
So the name of my second story is A Drop of Honey. A powerful king and his chief minister sat on the balcony of their palace, drinking tea. They can see the spread of land and houses, and the land that the king had conquered stretches all the way to horizon. Right below the balcony of their palace is a marketplace. The king and his trusted minister can see people buying and selling things, and they like to watch and talk about the buzzing activities that are going down in the marketplace. As they talk, the king eats his favorite snack. Every now and then, he dips his rice cracker into a bowl of the most expensive and the sweetest honey brought to him from afar. This is delicious, says the king. He scoops up a generous amount of honey to put into his mouth. A little drop of the honey drips down from the side of his mouth and lands on the window ledge. Your Majesty, let me get a servant to swipe it off, suggested the chief minister. The king tells him, no, it's not your problem. I don't want anyone to disrupt our conversation. Let's carry on with what we are talking about. The drop of honey trickles down from the window ledge all the way down, tick, tick, into the street below. The king and the chief minister are still busy talking. And then a fly comes and begins to feast on it. The yummy honey certainly tastes better than the leftovers in the rubbish bin that he had found earlier. The fly is so engrossed on the yummy honey that he doesn't see a lizard. The fly only takes a few licks of the honey when he becomes the meal for the lizard. And the lizard enjoys his meal, which was that fly mixed with sweetness. As he eats and as he flickers his tails, drawing the attention of a cat nearby, the cat pounces on the lizard and it too becomes a snack for the cat. A dog that is tied loosely to a lamp sees the cat and breaks free. The dog now pounces over the cat. Meowing and barking erupts from the street below. The chief minister, observing the fight, now pleads, maybe we should do something. It's not our problem, said the king again. Soon the owners of the dog and the cat came out. The cat's owner was horrified to see her cat being attacked by the big bully dog and starts whacking the dog with the broom. The owner of the dog now rushes to defend his dog. Both owners yell at each other. Soon people start coming out from the stalls and houses to see what was going on. Seeing their friends' cats being attacked, some people join in beating the dog and its owner. Friends of the dog and owner also joined the match, shouting. Very quickly, shouting becomes violent and a fight breaks out into the street. The chief minister says, look, Your Majesty, the people are fighting down below. Perhaps we should do something for it. No, says the king again. It's their problem. Let them handle it. Now the street vendors, passers-by, attracted by the noise, gathered round to see what was happening. There was a lot of chaos, and everyone joined that fight and started to fight. The scene is filled with flying fists, twirls, and kicks. For every punch, there is a counter punch. For every kick, there's a counter kick. Also out of their mouths, awful words cursing to one another. Maybe we should do something, said the chief minister again. Let's carry on what we are doing. It's not our problem, said the king. Soon the big fight brings out the well-alarmed palace guards, among whom are dogs and cats lovers. The soldiers themselves start taking different sides and begin the fight with their swords and weapons. My dear king, I really think we should do something. For the last time, I tell you, it is not a problem. I will go to see my queen now. The problem will take care of itself, yelled the king, and went. Such fighting is considered a small matter to the king who is used to going on a wage and conquer land. However, the fight below the palace tower spreads in the entire city. Somebody sets fire to her house. One fire to another fire, and the whole city burns. Next morning, a loud bang shakes the palace, and a cannonball strikes the palace and reduces it to rubble. The queen crawls out of the rubble, crying for her children, and then is relieved to find them well and alive. The king crawls out of the smoking ruins and says, "Maybe that drop of honey was our problem after all." Thank you.
Thank you, Yasname. Brilliant. Well, anyone got a comment after that? We'll go around the same order. Mike, you rarely get a chance to talk on these programs, so
Well, now,
take
again,
as much time as you want.
Well, I really enjoyed that again, and what's interesting for me is I really find myself wondering what the king represents in these these classic characters, the king and the advisor. They're such strong and powerful characters, and they're obviously characters that we need. But I just wonder where maybe our elders can help Yasname and I to understand that a little bit more.
Well, there are enormous number of stories with foolish kings in, and quite a lot of wise ones as well. So I think it's Baba C. Have you any comments?
Well, you know I'm shy. But
Yeah.
Mike, to address your question, I think the king represents indifference. But there's another word I want to use, I don't remember, but indifference. And his advisor represents interest, awareness. And I think that that little drop of honey turned out not to be a honey of a deal after all. But the story was magnificent. Jasname, as always, yay! I mean, yay!
Yes. Mike F.
Yes, I really enjoyed the story. I didn't know what the king and the minister represented, so I'm obviously just a youngster at heart. I thought he was a bit like King Log. You know, he wasn't doing much. But it kind of reminded me, you know, the poem from your country, Barbasi, about for want of a nail, the shoe was lost, for want of the shoe, the horse was lost. And it's that, isn't it? This tiny little thing that you don't bother with. It's a bit like maintaining your house. There's a little thing, and before you know it, your roof's falling in. And I think that's the kind of situation the king got himself in. And you described it to us beautifully. Thank you, Jasmine. Jasname.
Thank you. And in answer to Mike's question, the role, depending on the story, the roles reverse. Very often in Moroccan stories, the king takes his advisor out and to educate the advisor, and so there's all those stories of sultans that go out in disguise and take their advisor with them to learn what's happening, and so that's the sultans are usually quite wise in Moroccan stories. In European stories, the kings tend to be slightly more idiotic. But I don't know what that tells us. Well, and emperors, of course, Mike. Well, Yasname, as always, you have saved our bacon, you have saved our lives, and it's a pleasure. I think you will have such a stock of stories by the time you start taking bookings, and we will. And Mike, you've got to sit on my back, Mike W. You have to sit on my back about this because I have promised Yasname certificates, but that she can show her school to say what she's the amazing stuff she's been doing with us, and so we need to get certificates together.
That's great. Well, if you'd like Yuliu to help with that, he's
That would
very
be
good
great.
at that thing. Yeah.
That'd be wonderful. Okay, I'm saying that. I'm saying that in public, so Yasname's mum knows I haven't forgotten.
No, we're happy to help.
Right, and because the schools, Indian schools, love certificates, and you know that it all counts towards stuff. So, anyway, well, it doesn't look like anyone else is joining us. Nigeria doesn't seem to have come tonight. So, as always, fantastic. Now, who have we got this Friday? Sarah Lloyd Winder, and then next Tuesday we have more young international tellers, and I will not be in a field to do this, so I can see everyone's faces on my big computer. So fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you, Jasname, for telling the stories. Thank you, Mike, and Baba for being our live audience. I can't see anyone else.
John, can I ask Jasname a quick question?
I think you're allowed.
Thank you. Jasname, how are things in Punjab at the moment? Because I've been seeing pictures from Pakistani Punjab, and it's really bad there. Is it okay over your side?
It's fine over here, like where I am in Punjab. It's perfectly fine.
So there's no flooding. Perfect. Okay, well, see you all. I'll see you next Tuesday, Jasname, and everyone else. And come and listen to Sarah Lloyd Winder. Meanwhile, one more huge round of applause for Jasname. And thank you, Aline, for driving the magic carpet tonight, or flying the magic carpet tonight.
Thank you, Waleed, for flying the magic carpet. Catch you next week. Thank you.
Have a nice day.